Hello team, this is Hiba and I'm recording this presentation for you from Amman, Jordan. It's been definitely a wonderful year for Calibri in Arabic, and I'm just so excited to share some of the progress, success, and challenges that we have achieved so far in building the Calibri Arabic library. So here we go. Ahlan wa sahlan. So as maybe most of you know, the beginning of building the Arabic content library on Calibri really started with this project in collaboration with Google and the UNHCR to help refugee communities have more access to education in a number of countries, and Jordan was technically one of them in the MENA region. So we were hoping really to get started on Jordan, but really the ultimate goal is to build this library to all MENA learners, or as you want to say, all Arabic-speaking MENA learners, whether they're in the MENA region or in other places. So this collaboration really has brought us different ideas and, just helped us a little bit reflect more on the needs and the things that we need to do to contextualize Calibri more to Jordan in particular and the MENA region. So, the early phases of this project, as learning equality is pretty much leading the content development, was to know more about what's really available online in Arabic, educational content, whether it's in a digital form or in print form, but whatever, it's just available or made available online. Also learn a little bit more about the learning gaps. What are the things that the MENA learners are really trying so hard to progress at, whether it's in schooling or in other contexts, and also how then we could import this content on Calibri. What are the really most common features that digital content in the MENA region are kept in mind in content design? What are the different platforms that they use? Well, and then if we are moving content from those platforms to Calibri, what are then alternatives that we need to think about just to make sure that we provide teachers and learners with the ultimate educational experience, even if it's offline. And then, of course, this is a really important piece of the whole process, which is fostering regional relationships with MENA content creators. I do remember when coming to learning equality, there was a really strong and clear partnership / relationship, for example, with Adrak in Jordan. That's pretty much a prestigious one to have, but as you all know, it's really important to expand the circle of contacts across the MENA region as much as possible if we want to make this library as diverse as it should be. So to give you, a summary of the year, I would say, and how we are moving forward with this, as you can see, I pretty much started on conducting research on whether it's refugee communities, learning in refugee communities, on UNHCR models in education, what's really available out there, the types of successes and challenges that, different organizations or frameworks have, proven so far in the digital, space of education. And just generally speaking, research on governmental frameworks, what governments in the MENA region are trying to do for educational reformation, and then how we could, as an organization, help to bridge a gap and help those governments and ministries of education to, to reach their goals, hopefully by providing Calibri as a solution. And this is, of course, really important then for us internally as a team to understand and to identify the strategies to building this library. And with the support of Lauren and Shivi, of course, with, iterations and feedback, we've come to identify, a number of strategies on like how we're moving forward with the content, what types of content we're really focusing on, what things then that we need to maybe investigate or explore more to make sure that we follow these strategies. So for example, when we talk about the nature of content, when we talk about the, the gender gap, especially in those refugee communities, being mindful of girls versus boys and the preferences of educational models that they have. When we talk about also intercultural sensitivities, for example, right? And making sure that this content really fits the culture and it's respectful and it's easy to digest for people coming from different types of cultures and things like that. And of course, from those strategies, I identified then the content priorities that we are looking for. This is about the nature of content again. This is also about the format of content, the modes of delivery, and things like that. And those two come in two separate documents, and you will find them on Google Drive. And if you're really curious and interested in having them, please let me or Lauren or Shivi know, and we're happy to send you the links your way. I think those are pretty much concise because the way we were thinking about it is that, if any of the learning quality team member is in a conference or a global event, then it's easy for you guys to share and talk about the work in MENA in a pretty much clear, direct way. So please let me know if you need access to any of these two. And then, of course, taking all this learning from July, I forged into the period from July to December into then, doing the work and focusing mostly on importing content and, working closely with the team to, create the Arabic channels, provide feedback and QA. There was a good number of open content in Arabic, but also we wanted to make sure that we start with those while looking for new open sources or talking to people to make this content open. And of course, contextualizing documents and sometimes creating documents just from scratch for MENA audiences. And here I'm talking about organizations, even sometimes individual CEOs or founders of Arabic content that we need to approach in presentations, in-person meetings or virtual meetings. It was really important for us to have something a little bit more oriented to MENA, so that's also one piece that we focused on. A really important piece, and it's been, it's ongoing and it takes a lot of time, is building relationships with content creators and providers. We've been talking to a lot of people, and it's been really exciting to get the feedback from them, and we are trying to explore how their content can really then help us progress with our library in different types of skills, especially, as you know, in STEM, literacy, and life skills. And then finally, of course, since we work closely with the UNHCR Jordan team, I do remember the first, I would say, official meeting on this project was back in July. And since then, we've been having regular check-ins with them just to update them on the content for the projects, what we have on Calibri. They have access now to the platform. They can follow up on the updates via worksheets that is, they're alive. So we've been really trying our best to also understand the, their side of the work and how we can support them with the project. As you all know, Lauren shared on Slack, they have now a senior project associate, and I'll be supporting them with onboarding this guy in January, and to then collaborate on the training in hopefully in February. So that's really the piece, I would say the pieces that I've been focusing on the past year. Also, as you know, the design workshop at Juhud happened. I took part of leading 2 sessions in that workshop. It was a really nice learning experience, and we've taken some of those back to both teams, and we've either updated the content or just, we've taken those ideas into consideration for implementation in the future. For January and March, because I am with Learning Equality now until the end of March, which is really exciting, I'm hoping to have maybe 20 to 25 Arabic channels officially published. We're really pretty much close to that number now already, but I'm trying my best to, have more by the end of the period. And thanks to the team in development, especially Yvonne and Kevin, for really helping me, and collaborating with me on making this hopefully happen. The coaches training prep is already happening from my side. I'm trying to have a look at what the organization has already and then, identify maybe needs for language gaps or for implementation gaps. And we are going to talk more about this in January, hopefully after, the New Year holidays and Christmas break. The coaches training will definitely happen. Still, I think it's either late January or early February. We'll also learn more about that from the United to our team hopefully soon. And one piece that I've also collaborated with Shivi and Lauren on throughout July to December is, talking to people and organizations, yes, about, creating and digitizing or translating new content. And hopefully the decisions will be made early next year on whom we're moving forward with. A lot of wonderful and exciting conversations, really a lot of wonderful opportunities, and I really, really hope that we get the chance to contribute to the ecosystem by supporting those content creators really soon. Along this process, as you could imagine, there are a lot of wonderful successes. As we have now, we have 30 Arabic channels in different development stages, which is really exciting. It was really wonderful to see how people are excited about Calibri. Every single person, every single organization, in every single meeting or email, there's always excitement shared. There's always, I would say people are looking forward to seeing Calibri fly, just like we do. It's also important, it was really interesting to see that, and I think this is really applicable to different, parts of the world as well, that people here in MENA really have almost nothing on open licensing and what this means and what Creative Commons are. So part of this process was also good, I think, for them to learn a little bit more about what open licensing is and then how they can make this content of theirs available in open license across the region. And of course, as part of it is to help them learn about other ways to scale to new learning communities across the region, and then how this open licensing idea and having open content in a digital form can help them really, reach those communities and support learners in different formats. Those are also coming with challenges as well, as you all know. I would say the most challenge I'm still trying to deal with is that open licensed Arabic content for lower secondary in particular, because that's the target audience we're focusing on with the UNHCR project, is really very limited. So that's why the big piece was to talk to as many organizations as possible who develop really good content and try to try to collaborate with them and have them really make at least part of this content available in an open license. As you might tell, and this also, depends on where you are in the world, and I think, you find this global, that people sometimes do not really respond as fast as you want them to, which makes the process a little bit more longer than you expect, but I think you just cope with that, and you try your best to provide them with everything they need, or with the context they require to help the process fasten a little bit. There are always unexpected delays, whether internally or externally, and as I said, I think coping here is pretty much important. It was not really easy for me at the beginning, as some of you know, but I've just learned along the way that you just have to be really patient and you have to figure out ways to cope with those delays and just work autonomously as much as possible. So that's really in a glimpse what we've been working on. I know this was really fast, but I also want to be respectful of your time. So please, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to Slack me or send an email, or if Lauren and Shivi are there in the meeting, just feel free to ask them directly. I really hope to hear back from you and see how I can support even further with Learning Equality's plans in building the Arabic library, whether for UNHCR project or even beyond. Shukran. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye.